Hello, my name is Rick Boulay, and I'm the president of Killeen Educators Association and of Region 10 of the Texas State Teachers Association. I'd like to welcome you to our Killeen ISD School Board of Trustees Candidate Forum. I'm very pleased to be your moderator for today's discussion. Enshrined in the Constitution is one of the most important functions that we can perform: our ability to select the officials that make the decisions on how the district operates through our vote. It's through this process that we make our voices and wishes known as to how we wish the education of our children to ultimately proceed in Killeen ISD. The level of material support the district provides, the quality and condition of its facilities, the safety of its buses and equipment, how its educators and support professionals are compensated and treated in the workplace. All of these things and more are provided through the election of those serving on the Board of Trustees. We're here to have a conversation with those who are seeking positions on the board for places 6 and 7. Our goal is to learn more about their stances on positions that directly impact students and those who help make their education possible, how they think, and how they would approach the challenges that face KISD as we continue into the future. We encourage you to listen to their responses as many times as you need and give careful consideration to whom you wish to lead the district forward. Most of all, we highly encourage you to use your power to vote. A voice that remains silent is a voice that gives up control over its fate. We want you, the viewer, to know that the questions for tonight's conversation were selected in advance. All the questions will be put to all the candidates to answer so that you may make your own comparisons and draw your own conclusions. The Executive Board of Killeen Educators Association has not made any decisions regarding potential endorsements and will not make them prior to the conclusion and publishing of this forum in its entirety. Let's do a very quick 1-minute follow-up question. Staffing issues with transportation became an issue this week specifically, and over the years, transportation shortages have been something of a bugaboo that the district has had to deal with. Very quickly, can you give me a specific 1 minute or less, a quick method in which you would address those issues? Ms. Carter, we'll start with you.
Well, I would increase the pay. I mean, if we have such a shortage, obviously, increasing the pay would get more people in, especially with COVID right now, a lot of people being out of work. So that would help. But I also would address the issue with the lack of safety, meaning the COVID, spacing out the children. That's one thing I noticed that KISD didn't do at the beginning. They didn't follow the CDC's recommendation to have, I believe it was 10 kids. I forgot what it is. I'm sorry, but they didn't space out the kids according to CDC's recommendation. So that kind of bothered me. But also too is that you want to make sure that our bus drivers aren't overworked, where they're not having to sit there and go back and forth, where they're having shift overlaps. We want to make sure, like I said, to bring in some more staff to make them feel appreciated. We've got to change the environment. I've talked to people, that where they've said that there's toxic environment, the transportation department. So if we change the environment, make it more positive, then you're going to get more people there. That's one thing about Killeen being, it's not a huge town, but it's small enough for word of mouth goes there. Same thing with why are our teachers jumping around? It's word of mouth. So we've got to change the perspective of how we're looking at the district. That's all I have.
All right, thank you, Mr. Adams.
Yes, we do need to address some morale issues at the in the transportation department. However, I would also need to relook how we're doing school transportation in general. We have a shortage. We can't find drivers. Then let's support some of the interlocal discussions about our transit system around here in general. KISD could, like other school districts, invest or become part of a DOT program and give tokens or sell the tokens to the students, and the buses could actually, you use the school buses for those areas that are not along a bus route. But if KISD participates with the rest of the community and support that, it potentially could bring more funding. I think bus routes that serve our high schools, you probably would not need any more additional bus drivers, and you would focus the bus drivers in those areas that you can't get a route in.
Thank you, Mr. Adams. Mr. Mills.
You know, this is kind of a difficult thing to answer as far as, you know, how we go about this. You know, I love the idea of you know, paying more money to attract the bus drivers. But you also have to understand that a lot of these drivers, you're also competing against, you know, the UPSs and the FedExes and the Amazons of the world. And unfortunately, being a tax funded entity, I don't know that we'll ever have the money to compete with those large giants that are making money. And so I don't know that that's the answer. It certainly wouldn't hurt. But again, you're competing against those entities. You know, as far as spacing the kids out, you know, that would create an issue with more school buses, more routes, and it just becomes costly. So I don't know that I have the answer, but we've got to find innovative ways, again, to get these people to work and to keep them here at work. So it's a bit of a complicated issue, but one that we certainly need to tackle.
Thank you. And Ms. Purser.
Thank you. And, you know, I'm going to kind of piggyback what Mr. Mills said. The construction and all the transportation industry absolutely watches municipalities. So whether it be the county or the school districts or the cities, if we give a raise, they're just going to counter it. They have the ability to raise more money than we do, because then they just pass those costs on to the customer. We have to build it in our budget and then have to go after the tax rate, the effective rate. So we have to plan our budget out a year in advance. So that's a problem. Raising the money that way just causes the construction and the transportation industry to raise their rates immediately after we do. So that isn't a fix. What is a fix is making sure that we have a very hospitable work environment, making sure that we offer good benefits, the work schedule, you know, early in the morning and then basically cutting off at dusk. You know, there's a lot of the transportation industry that has to be on the road much later than we are. So short of sporting activities and band programs, the transportation have, you know, at least it's a lifestyle that they either want this lifestyle or they don't. If they don't want to commute and be away from their family and they want to be in this area, this is a good job. So being able to start early in the day and be home for dinner at night, that speaks a lot to the lifestyle that bus drivers want. So I really feel like it's a calling, and it depends on what they want in their life for their family. So we just have to make sure that we're doing the best we can as stewards with the money and offer a very conservative package, make sure that they're not, you know, burning the candle at both ends and really hurting the children with the safety issues. We don't want any safety issues with our bus drivers. So we want to make sure that they're being taken care of. And like I said earlier, the morale, we just want to make sure that they have a good morale and work environment. So I think we just need to keep working on that. I think we just need to concentrate on the leadership and all the department heads and just make sure that they're doing the best they can under, you know, except for the extreme circumstances that we're in with COVID, because this has just been a very unusual year. We've always had a problem with a shortage of bus drivers. This isn't anything new, just like the old adage of all the portable buildings. You know, that was going on for decades. This has been going on for decades as well. This is just a fast growing and evolving school district because pockets of our community, the transportation changes within 6 months. And so routes are constantly being modified to take care of the needs of our students that are needing transportation to their schools.